Okay, here we go. Welcome
Hey,
everyone
you hit
to
record. That's good.
All right.
That's good.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger, and with me is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we decided to take a look back at a movie that I think initially we were not very excited to watch. We saw it, we were like, okay, what else is there? And kind of moved past it. And I know I fell on some short snippets of the movie, and I think Dan, you happened to have watched it, and I'm like, why aren't we talking about this movie? And you were like, that's a very valid point.
So that's partially correct. I wanted to see this movie very badly. From the second I saw it in trailers in the theater, I was like, hell yeah, I'm all about it because it had Brad Pitt, who I'm a huge fan of. It was all, or what it seemed like, it was all action based, a bunch of trained hitmen on a train. It was one of the big things that I wanted to really see in theaters, but there's a problem. No one else wanted to see it with me, and I didn't want to go by myself. So that's what kind of held me back from seeing it in theaters.
Just so the audience knows, this is the first time I've heard that Dan was excited about this movie.
Because
first time movie came out months ago, has been on Netflix for at least about a month. And it's the first time I've heard that Dan was really excited about it. Even when I brought it up, or we brought it up to talk about doing a podcast on it. Yeah. No,
because I already saw it.
Like, you were disappointed that somebody else was going to see it. I don't think we've mentioned the name of the movie yet, but if you've clicked on the name of the episode, I'm assuming you know that we're talking about Bullet Train.
Yes. So I had already seen it, and when you asked me if we want to do an episode, I was meh. And that might be showing my cards for the end of the episode, but I want to talk it through, which we'll dive a little bit deeper throughout. But right off the bat, so you saw it recently, right?
I saw it tonight.
Seems a reoccurring theme with how you watch
when
movies.
when you got a kid that's been sleeping sporadically, like and holiday stuff. Yeah, you get to it when you get to it. But try and do it after bedtime. Try and fit it in. But I like to watch movies with my wife as well, because we'll go back and forth a little bit. Or so we got this in on a Sunday, and we don't normally record on a Sunday. So it was one of those. At the end of it, she was confused during it, and afterwards she was like, "That was pretty good," and that honestly, being my first impression, I'll agree. It was definitely worth the 2 hours. Like, I don't want my 2 hours back, but I also have some thoughts on it.
Let me ask you this: when you saw the trailers for the movie, what did you think, or even just going into seeing it now, what did you think the movie was going to be about?
So many listeners and many people may dislike me for this, but there's a certain genre of, like, it's replaced mafia movies where there's like thinking and dialogue and diatribes like there were in The Godfather and Casino and all those, right? And they're just like, I call them after effects of the Matrix movies, right? Where there's some really fast hip hop and some neon lights in the background, and everybody's got guns, and they're doing a bunch of weird spinny flippies, and they're and I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And my first example of this is John Wick. While the first John Wick movie was badass, all they've done with those movies is just tried to continue to climb up the ladder of how obscene can we get with action scenes. And, like, I mean, great, but a little plot would be awesome. And we can totally take that to another episode, because I know another John Wick movie is coming out this year. But I pictured it as such. I didn't see any actors in the initial spread that I was really excited about, including Brad Pitt, because I don't look at Brad Pitt as a lead or a headliner. How do you feel about that? Like, I can't name one movie that I really like where the top billing is Brad Pitt.
I want to say Troy was top billing for Brad Pitt.
I'm good on Troy. I can't think of a movie that I'm like wowed by and is in my rotation that I even have purchased. That Brad Pitt is the number one in the call sheet guy. I love him in all the Oceans movies. I love him when he does stuff with Tarantino. But he just doesn't have that. I mean, even Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that is 100% Angelina's movie.
I'm confused. You just don't like Brad Pitt's acting, or you're not impressed by his acting?
If I'm going to do one of these heavy action movies, right? Like, which I thought this was going to be a heavy action movie. I need, like, I'll see it if there's a heavy action person in the lead of it, right? And honestly, even some of those heavy action people are getting to be a little long in the tooth, right? Like if this was a Liam Neeson movie about a train, I'd probably let it go by. I would not stop at the station for it because, I don't need to see a 65-year-old man doing super fast action stunts. Right? Like I don't have it. It's not anybody new. I don't know. It didn't blow my skirt up initially until I saw some of the deep outside cuts of it, like some of the pieces of the film and the quippery and things where I was like, oh, okay. Because I thought it was just going to be another knockoff of like an Asian standard, right? Like we tend to do that. Hollywood tends to do that. There's gentrification where they'll just go in and take the basis of so many good like Japanese or Chinese movies and be like, oh, we could do that. We'll put half the cast as Asian, but all the main characters as like, just American people, which they did in this movie, which is another reason why I was like, I don't know. All of them are this doesn't make sense as to why the Japanese mafia is after all of these non-Japanese mafia people. And why is Joey King in this? Huh?
So
she's amazing in the movie. All the performances. What?
Back to Brad Pitt.
Yeah, go ahead.
What the question was. So you're saying 7.
Morgan Freeman. Ed Norton.
You can't dispute the fact that he's top billed.
I think Ed Norton is top billed in Fight Club.
Are you saying like it has to be the first name?
I've never seen him carry an entire movie.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Ocean's 11, Ocean's
I was
12,
happy
Ocean's
to be
13,
proved wrong by this Mr. Mrs. Smith, totally. I mean, yeah, I definitely disagree. Fight Club, really? You don't think that Tyler Durden?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was good on some Brad Pitt lead role.
But the main character who everyone bases everything off of in Fight Club, it's not Edward Norton's character.
Well, it's Tyler Durden. I get it. I get it.
And you're saying he does not carry that movie?
I think that movie's carried by Edward Norton and his absolute nutsness. I agree that Brad Pitt is amazing in the movie, and it wouldn't work without Brad Pitt. But I think Edward Norton carries the film. I think the writing also carries the film. You're talking about one of the best written movies of the 90s.
I mean, he's got a very long resume.
He does, but he does a lot of supporting actor. He does. And again, I said I was wrong. I said I really enjoyed the movie. Like I'm fully ready to eat crow on this. But yeah.
I'm not, but the movie isn't even the debate. It's Brad Pitt as a leading man. So let's on record, you're saying that Brad Pitt is not a leading man that can carry a movie.
Again, you've given me.
I'm not going to read down his entire filmography, but you're saying that Brad Pitt, who has been acting forever since the 90s and has been in some major blockbusters, does not carry a movie.
I would say that is accurate.
Wow. Okay.
I would say that that's accurate. And I'm trying to look at I'm quick scrolling the filmography here to try and find the thing, right? Like, oh man, what was it? What was it in these 113 feature films? That which one of it did he oh no, 113, he wasn't an actor. But what is it in these, over 60 to 70 feature films? Man, which one was all Brad Pitt all the time? Where were they? Which one without Brad Pitt?
I mean, you could just mention almost everything from 93 up.
Oh, I
Interview with the Vampire, Legends of the Fall, River Runs Through It. I mean, really? Do you?
He wasn't. Was he in River Runs Through It?
Yeah. And that was which, by the way, great movie, which I thought was going to be super boring, but I just happened to watch it on I don't know, whatever. I was sick one day and I decided to watch something. And I was like, what the hell is this movie about? And then it totally just sucked me in. It's a movie if I ever catch, if I am at like a hotel that has cable, if it's on, I'll watch it. He was the brother that was always gets into trouble and all that stuff.
Oh, but he wasn't the lead bad guy.
He was the brother of the main character. But I'm just saying, in terms of Brad Pitt and his acting skill.
I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm saying that I don't hang a full movie on Brad Pitt.
Okay. All right.
That's it. I mean, you mentioned the movies you mentioned were specifically The Favor, Interview with the Vampire, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, well, he was top.
Legends of the Fall. Did you not see that Anthony Hopkins was in this movie?
He earned a Golden Globe for supporting actor. So I'm just saying, like, the guy can carry a movie even if he's not the main character. Or first build, as you would say.
He did win 2 Oscars.
Yeah.
For 12 Years a Slave and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Benjamin Button, he carried. He carried the shit out of Benjamin Button. I
mean, Joe Black, Meet Joe Black, I think that's what it was called. That's another movie. I didn't necessarily like it, but...
And I did like him in Moneyball.
So anyways, long story short, give Brad Pitt just some credit, put some respect on his name.
Yeah.
Because, God damn it, national treasure.
I still don't want to see Brad Pitt leading my action movie. And I'm pretty sure there were no action scenes in this movie where I was like, wow, Brad Pitt really nailed that action scene.
Oh, man. Mr. and Mrs. Smith killed it. He killed it in that. That was a great, fun movie.
It was a good movie. Much fun. I agree. It was a great Angelina Jolie film.
Action. I mean, you're once again, you're not going by what you said, which drives me nuts. Absolutely nuts. Action. Brad Pitt in the action movie. Amazing.
Again, there were many reasons. Brad Pitt was
okay. Well, all right. Besides, let's go back to what the movie was. So in terms of your expectation of it, you were expecting an action movie?
Yeah, I was expecting a lot of action, not a lot of plot, not a lot of good quippy back and forth mystery kind of stuff that came out. That actually was part of it. I just expected a bunch of like shoot 'em up John Wicky action stuff that I just was not I'm usually not in a great mood for. Like, it's not like what I'm there to see.
Okay. That's exactly what I wanted to see. That's what I was expecting. That's what the trailers led me to believe.
Same.
And yeah,
I
definitely
love I
not
love
the
that
case.
what drew you to the movie is what pushed me away from the movie. And yeah,
Big reason why I didn't see it in theaters is because I wasn't able to see it with anyone. And then when finally I was able to get away for like a date night with my wife, like, oh, do you want to see Bullet Train? And she's like, oh yeah, just look up the times. And I looked up the times and I happened to see some reviews and I was just like, what the fuck? And so the reviews swayed me from going to see it that night. So we ended up just doing something else. So that was the nail in the coffin. When I read the review, and I don't do it too often, but because the movie had been out so long, I figured like, oh well, there won't be any egregious spoilers in this. It'll just be a good context as to, oh, okay, see the movie, don't see the movie. I will say Brad Pitt for sure headliner, and I will totally see it if he's a headliner. Just I think the guy has such a personality, and when he wants to put on his acting chops, he can absolutely do it. My quip with this is he was too goofy. He was like Floyd from True Romance in this movie, which I love him in True Romance as Floyd, but for this movie, not so much. Too
what
hippie, not
part of this
not
movie
into it.
was trying to be a Tarantino movie.
I was gonna say it's very similar to some of those
It's
things,
very
and
similar to a lot of movies.
it reminds me of Smoking Aces a little bit.
It does. It's got some Smoking Aces. It's got some Kill Bill for sure. It's got some it's got some snakes on a plane.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
just some, like, not because of all the snakes in the movie, there's one, but because of just the umpteen swearing and going about, right? Um, yeah, it's got a lot of, but it's also got like, it's got some Ocean's 11 to it, maybe some Ocean's like 13, not quite Ocean's 11 to it, but it's not bad. Like, I was very surprised that I really enjoyed all of the layers that this movie had when I didn't think it would have any layers. I thought it would be a floor.
With the different actors that were in this, yes, different layers in the sense that you've got all these different people intertwined with everything. I thought smoke well, Smoking Aces in comparison to it, I thought that Smoking Aces kind of did it better in the sense that there was some gravity to the whole situation. There was no gravity in this whatsoever, with the exception of those two gentlemen in my background right there, Lemon and Tangerine. I think that's the only time that I saw some type of, you know, something that drew an emotional response out of me. I will say in the opening of the movie, though, with Andrew Koji, who is a badass. If you've ever seen which it was on Cinemax, then it was on HBO Max, the TV show Warrior, which is based off of like the Bruce Lee, what was like the Kung Fu series that he was thinking about. He is a freaking stud. He is a badass. And I was hoping when I saw him in that first scene, I was like, oh man, his son's in the hospital. He's gonna go fucking nuts. He's gonna kung fu someone like throughout the entire movie. Nothing, nothing. And
No.
so, but he did a great performance, I would say. So Andrew Koji, I thought that was really good. The guy is he's got like his English accent, but I always enjoy the movies or TV shows that he's in because he always gives us all.
I feel like, to your point, he has such potential that I feel like it was kind of wasted in the role. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
you did a really good job at this like seventh build supporting role that has layers in the plot and things, but would I have loved to see him as, Ladybug? Yes. Would I have loved to see him in more of a leading role? And we can nix these other actors like that don't have I don't know. I wanted this with the quality of writing that I discovered this movie had, and the like old school back and forth. It almost had like a 70s movie mentality to it, with the different levels that you're getting through and the different, out of left field, there's the angry Mexican guy from the Everybody Eats Cake and Dies wedding, right? Like all these different random people show up and they get the name. It's like da-da-da-da-da-da, and there's another person. And I'm like, I want this to just, I don't want them to, come on, stop stealing this movie. This is, I don't know.
At the wedding.
What?
At the wedding with Bad Bunny. Do you know who Bad Bunny is?
No.
Okay, so I didn't know who Bad Bunny was until I saw a WWE thing, and he entered the Royal Rumble. So that guy, who played the Hitman, where everyone was thrown up and bleeding out of their fucking eyeballs, he was in the WWE Royal Rumble this year, and he did a pretty decent job, which is crazy.
Oh.
And apparently, he's also going to be in another iteration of Spider-Man from Sony.
As Spider-Man?
I don't know the name of the character, but when I heard about that,
then I didn't know who he was. Keep him on the list. It's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar showing up in Tower of Death. Like, let's go.
Game of Death.
Whatever. It's called so many different things, Dan. You just look at the knockoff versions. It's called many things.
It's called, well, there's a couple knockoffs, but
so don't judge me.
Yeah, I will judge you because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wasn't in those movies. But
no, he wasn't. He was in one or two, depending on which cuts you see. But I mean, there were a few actors that I was just like, why? For example, Michael Shannon being the I know I'm jumping way ahead, but the biggest disappointment for me altogether was Michael Shannon.
Sorry, go ahead. I can mute that shit out.
Michael Shannon, biggest. I know they're like, oh, he's supposed to be Russian and such a bad guy.
Was he really Russian?
He was supposed to be when they were saying it.
Dude, I didn't fucking notice
that.
The
White Death is supposed to be Russian, and I'm just like, there's way better Russian. This is just no.
John Malkovich played a better Russian than Michael Shannon.
Yeah, that man is money. I was thinking of David. What's his name from Stranger Things?
With David Harbour as Red Guardian.
David Harbour, who just got all ripped up for Violent Night. Put David Harbour in this. That's fine with me. He played the fucking what did he play? The Red Avenger or whatever.
Red Guardian.
The Red Guardian. Like that's believable. Michael Shannon looks like they pulled him off his farm in Kansas. General Zod does not belong in this movie.
I'm okay. Michael Shannon's kind of a weird guy, and he could play whatever part that, I'm not going to say he can do no wrong. I won't have any complaints that Michael Shannon is playing a part. The guy's got some pretty good range, and this is a character movie. When you've got a white guy and a black guy playing twins.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an off-the-wall movie.
It's also trying to be Snatch.
Yeah.
Like, agreed. It's trying to be Snatch. It's trying to be Game of Death or Tower of whatever, but on a train. It's trying to be so many movies, and it can't just be its own. I love the story. I love the way they weaved everybody together. Like, I was a big fan of that. But man, like, you can tell that the director was somebody who, like, his vision wasn't complete. He didn't have the full vision. He had the scenes. He knew what the action scenes needed to look like. Conveniently, stuntman slash stunt coordinator slash apparently big time movie director, David over here. David, how do you say his last name? Leach?
Leach, I believe.
Yeah. David Leach knew what he wanted to do for the stunts, and the stunts looked good, and they were funny and good and solid. And but why didn't we get the full scene from the wedding in there? I don't know.
You would think that with David Leach, who former, well, I mean, he is an actor, stuntman and coordinator, I would have just expected more stunts and action and better fight scenes. When what really got me, and I watched it a second time on Netflix today, was Brad Pitt. They really tried to fake Brad Pitt into doing a lot of that action. What I meant by faking it was when he had the briefcase and Bad Bunnies going to stab him and everything, he'd flip it like a couple of cool, like, ooh, this is stylish. But if you're gonna do that, you better fucking knock the shit out of him with it and do something cool, ornamental with the choreography. Don't just flip it and then, cut, punch, flip it again for no reason. There needs to be a reason to the flair. So that was my big problem with it, is that why not just get the stunt guy?
I like the flair though.
I like the flair too, but there needs to be action with the flair. Otherwise, it's just a somersault while playing baseball. There's no reason for it.
That's a really funny analogy.
Right? But if you did a somersault and caught the ball and third out, great. Inning change, perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I mean, there is a minor league team that absolutely focuses on doing that now.
Savannah Bananas, baby.
The Savannah Bananas are very popular.
Only reason I watch baseball clips is because of the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They're so good. The official baseball team of the I Can Do This All Day podcast.
Oh. You know what? I won't fight it. I won't fight it. Maybe they'll send us like some gear.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I just felt like the guy he's not over his head. He's just like a buddy. Like he's somebody that Brad Pitt knew and that all of these actors knew from previous things. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll come do this.
But let's go down the list of his directing credits. You've got John Wick, Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, which had
but he wasn't credited for John Wick.
Yeah, but it was him and Chad Stahelski that did John Wick, the first one. He was an executive producer for John Wick 2. So he had a hand in it. But those movies that I just talked about have awesome fight scenes. Deadpool 2, even though it's a different genre of action, awesome fighting in comparison to Atomic Blonde. Now, I did see Atomic Blonde and I was a little bit disappointed, but it wasn't because of the action. I thought it was the story lacked a little, but action was great. And Charlize Theron just kicked ass and she took that job so seriously. I was like, yeah, I'll watch whatever this dude comes out with because I know I will enjoy the action. You know what I enjoyed the least? The action.
The action. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have that much of a problem with it. But it seems like one of those old movies that you'd find in the video store back in the 90s that was a little old, that had like the main guy that won't carry a gun, and it's like a Jackie Chan movie connected with like a Snatch, added on to, it wants to be part of Hobbs and Shaw because of all the outside action shots of the train, like when it's derailing and all that. Like you could tell he did that stuff too, but I don't know. I felt like it didn't have a cohesive voice as a film, but I liked the movie. Like it entertained me. It did what it was supposed to do, but I'm just there thinking like, how much better could this have been if we found a lane and we maximized that lane, you know?
So are you talking about maybe just like all dialogue, no action, like completely flip the script on it?
No, I
Or
don't mind this. I mean, this is like an extreme train mystery movie, and I was a big fan of that. Like, I liked it. I did.
did you
I,
like Brad Pitt's Ladybug character though?
uh, After my Brad Pitt tirade, did I have to?
Well, I'm just curious because
I feel like with a different actor, it could have been amazing.
I think with a different character overall, like I don't like the Ladybug
I think
pacifist.
it's the way that you expect. It just needs. I think that a different actor. Like I don't see Brad Pitt as the professional hitman, right? I don't see it. He's too affable and funny.
Which he
Um,
did say he's more into snatch and grab stuff. So I guess he's not really a hitman in comparison to the
but
others.
so let me give you a few people that I think maybe could have made this movie better. But the bad part is I probably would have stayed away from it in the theaters just as much, regardless, right? So still thinking of the movie needing to be funny and having somebody to deliver the funny lines that Brad Pitt delivered. Jason Statham.
Really?
This could have been a Jason Statham movie.
The person that I was thinking of is exactly on your screen right there, Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, it could be Ryan Reynolds. I don't have a problem with that.
It seemed like it was Ryan Reynolds, just with Brad Pitt's surfer boy type of style with it. Because he can't play Ryan Reynolds, he played the surfer boy idiot.
Um, yeah. Well, I'm just talking about. It's just more believable that Jason Statham would not want a gun and want to hand
Sure.
to hand fight people.
Yeah.
You know that makes sense to me. Um, and if you want a random and you say Ryan Reynolds, Jason Statham, they're all too close to it. Like I need somebody different. Even
I'll,
though,
I'll tell
well,
you one. Jackie Chan would have been perfect for that. Jackie Chan as a pacifist, but can still kick the shit out of
Jackie
everyone.
Chan 20 years ago would have been perfect
He
for
could
this movie.
still do now.
And I still feel like this movie is trying to be a ripoff of a Jackie Chan movie. This movie has every single piece of Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee movies all in one. Bruce Lee would have been amazing in this movie as a pacifist, but still all up in some people's shit.
Maybe. Maybe.
But again, like I would have loved to see this with a more, and it's not. I see this as because it's taking place in Japan. It seems like it would be a more realistic cast to have a more Asian lead and more Asian characters in it than they did. Joey King made no sense.
Well, when she's what's his name's daughter, makes sense.
But yeah, I guess he didn't make sense either, though. Like, but again, like we'll get.
But we talked about this like a few episodes ago. Isn't it like the white guy has to be the bad guy in all movies now? You know what I mean? Like it kind of has to be that way.
Then don't make the white guy the good guy. Give
Yeah,
me
sure.
somebody else for Brad Pitt. Give me an up and coming action star.
So I will say that there is
Even Keanu would have been better than Brad Pitt. And they
sure,
both have this surfer dude thing.
but I
But I
will
wouldn't
say
have wanted to see Keanu in it either.
I'll say that for David Leitch's benefit, that I think the reason why Brad Pitt works as the protagonist is that he really is a fish out of water. He isn't supposed to be there today. He is not supposed to be here today because Carver called in sick, Ryan Reynolds, and he just is filling in. And so maybe I've been looking at this movie the wrong way, where I'm not a big fan of him as a protagonist because he doesn't kick ass, but maybe that was their intention. I think it's the wrong intention, but I don't know. If that is what David Leitch wanted, then I guess I have to respect that. It's just something I would
That's what
disagree
David
with.
Leitch could get because Brad was his buddy. And they probably shot this movie over 20 days and they had 2 cars or 3 cars as a set. Like they had no set at all in this movie. But let me ask you this. I'm gonna give you a couple names. You tell me if they'd be better or worse than Brad Pitt. Ready? Chris Hemsworth.
It depends on, are you talking about, you want goofy Chris Hemsworth? Or
I don't care. Either Chris Hemsworth.
yeah, I mean Chris Hemsworth can do wrong.
Chris Evans.
No, well, not
You wouldn't have taken Evans over Brad Pitt in this movie?
no, because I think Evans would have been the same fish out of water type of performance. So I can't say that it would be better than that.
Sebastian Stan.
Maybe.
And Anthony Mackie.
No, I'm not a big Anthony Mackie fan. I really am not,
Ooh.
unfortunately. There are some performances that I really enjoy, but there are others that I'm just like, not a fan.
Oscar Isaac.
He would be he would be better, flat out better, 100%. And you know what? I will tell you the exact way that he would want, or that I would want him to play it. I would want him to play the nerd from Moon Knight. I would want him in this role because that seems perfect. I like this game.
I don't know. I got more. Do you want more?
Sure.
In
other words, go down all of the Avengers. It seems like that's what's happening.
No. I'm outside of the Avengers. I've got a few more that I really like, and then a few that I'm seeing that I'm like, oh, he could do it. Andrew Garfield could do it because Andrew Garfield is an amazing actor.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't pick him. Wouldn't be at the top of my list, but I think he'd do a better job than Brad Pitt.
You know who I would have picked Andrew Garfield for? Let's just fan cast it right now. Do you want to fan cast it?
Wait. Let me get through. I got 3 more names for you.
I wouldn't say. I would say Andrew Garfield would not be better than Brad Pitt in this, but okay.
I can't say his last name right, and I feel disrespectful about it. But Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out and Black Panther.
Not necessarily.
Oh, not necessarily.
I wouldn't say better. Different, but not better.
Okay, I got 3 or 4 more for you. And I'm gonna go shotgun. You ready?
Yep.
Miles Teller.
No.
No.
Not better.
Just no. Shia LaBeouf.
Better.
Just for the crazy.
Better.
Kristen Stewart to put a woman in the lead.
Nope.
Awkwafina to put a woman in the lead?
Nope.
Okay, and the person that I would have liked the most for the role, Donald Glover.
Okay.
Lando could have done an awesome job at this.
Okay. All right. So let's go down to fan cast.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Who else you got?
All right. So fan cast, we're going to go just down this casting list of the people here.
We did Brad Pitt already.
Ladybug, Brad Pitt's character, I would pick Samara Weaving. Samara Weaving has been in a lot of different movies, never really shined and gotten a lot of the recognition, but she is freaking awesome and she can do no wrong. She is basically what a lot of people think of as the Margot Robbie light. Everyone confuses her with Margot Robbie because they're both Australian. They're both very similar looking, but Samara Weaving, one of my favorite actresses out there. She could play anything and everything. The Prince.
I feel like she's too short for the role. She's 5'5".
Still, she could play it anyway. She was in Guns Akimbo. She's freaking crazy.
Yeah, no, she was in Ready or Not. That she's a nut.
Yeah, that was an amazing movie.
She's made for the no story, lot of guns movies. Yeah, the way awesome. You want this movie to be. I would, in fact, take Donald Glover over Samara Weaving, but I appreciate you. Okay. Joey King, who do you got?
So for the Prince. So you would want to have someone that is deceivingly evil. And what I would go for is Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe.
Wait, as the prince?
Yep. So I'm just going to gender swap those two. Main character is going to be female, and then the antagonist behind it
Oh,
all.
I see what you're doing. I see what you're
That wasn't
doing.
even on purpose, but I think Radcliffe would be, because he's, people view him as Harry Potter, and he could totally play that in this movie, but he's the mastermind behind everything.
I guess. I was leaning more towards Aquafina if I wanted to go Asian on it, because I'm a big fan. Or I would go with why can't I remember her name from Black Widow?
Oh, Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
That
Florence
would have
Pugh
been a
would
good
be
one. That would have been a good one.
she'd be really good. And if he's gonna be Russian, she can do the accent properly.
Yeah, so I have a feeling I know who your
Yes, 100%. You already know David Harbour's coming. We can just get that out of the way.
All right. So what about Tangerine and Lemon? What about
So
you?
I really did like Tangerine and Lemon.
They were great.
I didn't really have a problem with them. I did not have a history with Brian Tyree Henry.
Yes, it did. He was the smartest of the Eternals.
Okay, then Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I mean, he was in Kick-Ass. He was in Tenet.
I haven't seen Tenet.
He was Quicksilver in the Avengers.
That's Quicksilver?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I don't have a problem with them. I would either leave them or replace them with like Scott Caan and
Casey Affleck.
no. Yeah. But like Scott Caan and who's the black comedian that was always on at midnight? Oh,
I mean, that's a tough one right there. So I would not touch these, but
Ron Funches.
okay, all right.
Yeah, that was Ron Funches.
But if I could recast those two, you know who I would pick? Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans. Those two as Lemon and Tangerine would be phenomenal.
They wouldn't be bad.
Phenomenal. All right. So what about the father?
I think that's the perfect actor. No changes.
Okay.
I want the old Japanese assassin guy to be that actor. That guy's been in so many things. Andrew
He has
Koji,
been in everything.
And he screams, "I'm in the Yakuza." That's what he does. And that's fine. That's exactly what I need him to do.
Okay. I would assume Hiroyuki Sanada as his father. I would assume that you would keep him.
Yep.
Okay. Michael Shannon as the White Death. Are you going with David Harbour?
Oh, 100%. I already said it. Yes.
Okay. What about the Wolf? Are you keeping it as a Mexican assassin, or are you going to completely spin that?
Not knowing that it was Bad Bunny.
I still don't know who Bad Bunny is.
I don't either.
But he did kick some ass at the Royal Rumble.
Dan, all I needed with this character, I didn't have a problem with the actor because the actor was dead in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I needed more from the director on why the fuck this guy is on this train.
Yeah.
And how he got there that quickly and how he got through customs with a big blood-stained white mariachi jacket. Like, all of this makes no sense. Mexico to Japan it's a long time.
Yeah.
That's not a quickie.
So what about
and Brad Pitt has already changed and gone to therapy, and the Hornet has already robbed a zoo and shit, and he's wearing the same fucking clothes. So no problem with the actor. but maybe pull a Marvel person in here. Maybe do something fun. Maybe make it Sebastian Stan. I don't know.
Okay. So instead of the wolf, you would be picking the white wolf. All right. Maria, Sandra Bullock's character, as the voice. Same.
Fine with me.
You know what? I want to go with British accents or even like an Irish accent. So I will. I would pick. Yeah, you know what? I would have to go with Haley Atwell as the handler. I think the British accent would just be or English accent would just be a nice addition.
I'm gonna go with the newest Moneypenny in the Bond
Oh,
movies.
okay.
I forget her name.
She was good. I liked her.
Yeah, she was really good. I'm looking. I'm almost there. Naomi Harris.
Almost there.
Naomi Harris, who's been in a lot. Well, she was in Pirates of the Caribbean and legit actress. But yeah, Naomi Harris.
The Hornet. Zazie Beetz is the Hornet.
I don't know.
I would say Jessica Chastain.
I don't
I
have a
feel
problem with that.
But I do like Zazie Beetz in this. That's
Yeah, she was
I
great
actually
in it.
like her in almost everything that she does. But if we had to recast everyone, Jessica
Yeah.
Chastain, I'd probably put
Another
her in
place
pretty
where
much
I'd put
everything.
in Aquafina if I could.
Yeah. That would work. That would work.
She'd be great. The best move in the movie was that was the only part of the movie where I thought Brad Pitt was funny. When he's like, I know you got an antidote, you're gonna pull the antidote out, and I'm gonna take the antidote. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like that sequence I saw, and I was like, damn, I haven't watched this movie. It looks like it's not all pew pew.
Yeah. But yeah, no. The son, the White Death son, Logan Lerman. So who else would you pick in that spot?
Logan Paul.
Paul. Okay. I don't even care to
Wait,
switch that one out.
Is Logan Paul the one? Andrew, wait, no, that's not who I'm talking about. Is it Andrew Paul, the guy from the fucking Aaron Paul?
Aaron Paul.
Aaron
Okay.
Paul, the guy from
Bitch.
Yeah,
from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, from Breaking Bad. Sorry, not
I'm the
random MMA boxer Logan Paul. Aaron
the White
Paul.
Death son, bitch.
Yeah, Aaron
Okay.
Paul could be Russian and could do many faces of dying and wear a face tattoo.
All right. Train conductor, Masi Oka. I love that dude. So for anyone who watched Heroes, he was Hero. And I just like everything that he pops up in. He's never in a real big lead character or role, but he's a lovable guy. I'll take him in anything. And then would you switch anything out for him? Or would you switch it out as like that one Latina chick from all those kids shows that just dances around with her ass? You know who I'm talking about?
No.
So, so my son used to watch this. I don't know what show it was, but she's dressed up in like a train conductor outfit, and she's an attractive woman, and she's wearing not even super tight clothing, but because of her build of her body, it seems super tight, and she just goes around singing "All aboard the choo-choo train," and she dances around with the kids. And my wife would always make the joke like, look at this chick with the big tits in her ass just shaking it in front of the kids.
Yeah, no, that would not be. Way to just assume that I'm going TNA with this whole movie when I haven't come close to it at all. I mean, the only Mr. Conductor that I ever grew up with was
George Carlin.
100% George Carlin. But because this is an Asian movie or an Asian bullet train, I'm gonna have to go with your boy Shang-Chi.
Okay.
I think it would be hilarious knowing that he could do all of the stunts
That
and
would be,
him
yeah.
not pulling out one.
So
Not one, just do you have your ticket?
that
Waiting for him to
guy,
like flip kick somebody off the train never happened.
yeah, that would be funny. That would be funny. Okay, cool. I'm cool with Karen Fukuhara. She's awesome in everything. She's awesome in The Boys. She's a killer on The Boys, and she just has that innocence to her too. But I thought she was nice in this role as the concession girl, just kind of like the typical Japanese polite, subservient type of
Yeah,
character.
I think her role was there for less time than Channing Tatum, so it was fine.
I love that Channing Tatum cameo because I love the fact that he always takes the piss out of himself, and everything that he does is always gay related. And in the end, he plays the bitch for Danny McBride, and he's just on a leash and everything. He has such a good sense of humor, very much like Ryan Reynolds did in Family Guy, when he was just totally like ambiguously gay in it. And I don't know, it's just that type of humor coming from him, knowing that he doesn't take himself too seriously, is just really good.
He just knows that he's fucking Magic Mike.
Which that's coming out again, so
Yeah,
another
yeah.
Magic Mike.
That may be another film that does not touch the podcast for some reason. Don't know why.
If the listeners want it, I will watch it.
Listen, the listeners already agreed to something else that I'm against, so
Ooh,
I,
all
I
right.
can't do that one too. All right. I have limits to how much
Okay.
just abuse I can take.
And it's funny, I'm reading this here. So Ryan Reynolds obviously had his cameo as the called in sick assassin Carver. So he just did that as a thank you for Brad Pitt appearing in Deadpool 2, which is
Well, it
pretty
was the
awesome.
same amount of time that it took.
But Brad Pitt's cameo, much funnier.
Yeah.
Much
Yeah.
funnier. All right.
You
Well,
could say that Brad Pitt carried the cameo.
so we talked a little bit about the other movies that this reminded us of. So a little bit of Tarantino, uh, a lot of Tarantino movies. Smoking Aces, very similar to that, just because of the whole assassin thing. And I would want to say just well, you mentioned too, like the Guy Ritchie movies,
Yeah.
Snatch. Yeah, I'd like the witty banter, right? So Lemon and Tangerine, I loved almost every scene that they had together where they interacted with each other. And
They were pulled right from those Guy Ritchie movies. Like that's them. That's the representative of that genre.
yeah, very good. Very good. I can't really say much, or I can't say the same about Brad Pitt scenes. I just, I don't know. I didn't like him as a character. I think it didn't fit. But once again, if that's what David Leitch wanted, where he didn't want similar type of assassins or hitmen or thieves, whatever, in this movie, okay, I guess he did it. But I think it was not to the betterment of the film.
I wonder how long this so it was based on a book by Kotaro Ishika.
So did they whitewash it?
Well, obviously they whitewashed it, but there's a lot of his novels that have been made into movies.
Hmm.
A lot of them are Japanese films. Actually, all of them except for this one seem to be Japanese films. But yeah, it seems like this is whitewashed. It seems like somebody bought the rights to the movie and decided to just make it.
Okay.
And that makes sense to me. it makes sense that this was an actor who or a writer. See, the screenplay was done by um
I don't care who the
Zach
fucking screenwriter
Oakland. He
was.
didn't write. He's only done one other screenplay, Fear Street Part Two,
Ooh, I
which
did like that movie. That movie
Part
was
Two.
awesome. That was legit. That all three of those movies were awesome.
Okay, well, he only was involved in Part Two, and it looks like most of these Kitaro movie films. I don't speak Japanese, but most of them seem not action movie-ish.
Okay. Well,
Maybe I don't know, but they were all made in Japan.
who was your favorite assassin?
I don't know. It was there weren't a lot, right? Like you couldn't pick a favorite. The favorite was difficult because they were all so not even like campy in a good way. If it wasn't Brad Pitt, I'd pick his character, but it's also like I don't know. I think Brad Pitt's too California cool to fit into this part, and that's what kills it. I want to really like the ladybug, but like when you see even in the opening of the movie, him walking into that puddle and then stepping back because of the car, and then walking right back through the puddle. That's not a Brad Pitt move, dude. It's just so not. But either way, I'm gonna have to say that Brad Pitt's character by writing was the funnest of the assassins because he didn't take himself seriously at all and didn't really want to be there. What about you?
I have to, and this might be, it might seem like an obvious one, but Aaron Taylor Johnson is Tangerine because he played a badass, but he also played that role with a lot of range.
Yeah,
So you almost feel for this hitman who fucking murders people for a living because there's that brotherly bond between these two guys. I did like Brian Tyree Henry's Lemon, but I think that Aaron Taylor Johnson just has the better range. So I liked that particular character more, or I felt more emotional towards that character. And, when you get any type of emotion out of me, then that's a win.
did your favorite assassin produce your favorite death or murder?
No, because I thought it was such a fucking cop out when he got shot in the neck and died. I was so upset about that. And then, Brian Tyree Henry was very easy in forgiving Brad Pitt about that. Like, I don't know. That's if someone shoots your brother in the neck,
But did
you're
Brad
gonna
Pitt
let it
shoot
go.
him? I thought he shot himself by accident.
Well, yes, but it was because he was fighting with Brad Pitt.
Mm,
So I don't know, man. I think that's a little too far to forgive.
mm. I don't know. My favorite. So it's a tie for me. There's two. One I already talked about the dropping the venom in the hand and then picking it and hitting her in the neck with it. That was cool. I love that. But the after credit scene murder was by far my favorite one. And at the time, like you kind of maybe saw it coming that she was gonna Joey King was gonna talk long enough to get hit by a truck. But then when you realize that Lemon was driving the truck and yelled "Tangerine," it was great. I was
That
like,
was
that was a very fulfilling after credit scene for a film that, like, what are you going to do an after credit scene for? You're not going to do a sequel.
yeah, yeah. But you're right. I did like that, and I think Brian Tyree Henry I probably like the best out of everyone, but Aaron Taylor Johnson had the best performance.
Yeah. No.
Idea.
Would you see a prequel that was the adventures of Tangerine and Lemon?
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Get that movie made. I'll watch that. It'll have to go straight to Netflix or Prime or something, but
It might already be a book in Japan. You don't know. Can
yeah.
you read Japanese?
No, but I would watch this movie in English or in Japanese. Actually, you know what? I would watch in Japanese. Yeah. But yeah. So I think that only leads us to the last question. We've had some fun. We did a fan recast of this. But Mark, can you do this all day?
I'd love to say that I can, but it's the movie had so much more potential. It's better than I thought it would be, but I can't do it all day. Can you do this movie all day?
I cannot do this movie all day because I feel like I was lied to from the trailer. I feel like I was lied to. And I like Brad Pitt. I love Brad Pitt, actually. He is just an awesome actor, and I enjoy his performances in a lot of movies. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry, freaking awesome in this movie. The highlights, these two right here, highlights of the movie, the best. I think a lot of other actors, with the exception of Hiroyuki Sanada, I think he was done justice, but Brad Pitt wasn't done justice. Andrew Koji wasn't done justice. And I want to say Zazie Beetz wasn't done justice. They could have done so much more with those
You could have
actors.
shown her how she killed whoever was supposed to be in the suit when she got in the suit.
Yeah.
Like they could have done so much more. That's what I'm saying. This was written by a screenplay person who had seen a few things, but not really seen how to put a movie like this together. And there are some really great examples of movies that all occur in one hour or 2 hours, 3 hours, but they show all the backstory to them and they get them done in less than 2 hours time.
Most importantly, so you just talked about the screenwriter. There's a director that does action very well, and action was not done very well in this movie.
It was but it was still better than trash. Like again, did not regret watching it, was satisfied, but still left wanting a little bit.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. That's really the easiest way to sum up my feelings on this movie. I was expecting one thing and I got another. Just, it is what it is.
I agree.
But I will say it was entertaining. Not enough nostalgia for me, I think. I think the Masi Oka from Heroes, who was in there, that was my little bit of nostalgia, but that was pretty much it. If you brought a little bit more, I may say that I can do this all day. It could maybe make up for all that stuff, but hypocrisy is strong with me today. No, it's a no for me. But thank you all for listening. That will wrap up another episode. And until next time, I am Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the Resident Jedi.
Like and subscribe. Suggest other movies that maybe we've overlooked that we might kind of like but still be disappointed in. We're open to thoughts. Also, let us know what you think about watch-alongs. We've been toying with the idea. We may put it out there for you, but if it's a big yes, let us know. If you wouldn't waste your time, let us know that as well.
Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next time.